Welcome back. The big breaking news right now. Kamal Nath announced his resignation as Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh a short while ago. During his speech ahead of that announcement, he listed his 15-month-old government's achievements in the state. He also hit out at the BJP, saying they had betrayed the public mandate and continuously plotted against his government. Well, to talk more about this, we're joined by Lalita Kumar Mangalam, a member of the BJP, Sanjay Jha, spokesperson of the Congress, and Smita Prakash, editor of ANI. Smita, first I'd like to go across to you. Your reaction to these developments. It was speculated that Kamal Nath would resign rather than face a trust vote in the assembly. But ahead of that resignation, he hit out at the BJP, claimed they had plotted continuously against his government.
They had plotted. It's quite clear. I mean, it was something that was happening from the day that he took oath of office, because it was such a tenuous majority that he had. It was very slim, and it's quite natural that an opposition party would try to destabilize the government, and they did do it. I mean, if you're going to be looking at the morality of it all and the ethical position of it all, it's something that every political party now has been flouting continuously, state after state. If there is a mandate which is not a clear-cut mandate, then that government would have to try and work all the time to get a majority. Otherwise, this would happen. It's happening in all the states.
Are we seeing it too often? Is the question? Are we seeing it too? Have we become blasé to it because we're just seeing it too often? And in most cases, you know, we see it's the BJP. They're clearly very ruthless. The Congress does seem to be, in its own confusion about leadership, and the BJP is quite determined, and they go for the kill.
See, Gargi, terms like ruthless and things like that doesn't work in politics. Every political party is absolutely ruthless when it wants to come to power. Now, how hungry are they to be in power is something that has to be seen in the past couple of years. You've seen that the Congress has been complacent. They haven't been fighting, and when they did, which was like in many states, they did try to form government. You saw that happening in Maharashtra. You saw that happening earlier in Karnataka. They lost it. It's different matter, but then they try in those two states and they did form a government. The fact is that every political party must do everything to be in power. So if Kamal Nath had a very slender majority, it's his politics, and the Congress party, which it was up to them to keep their government in power. I mean, you can expect it anytime, anywhere for them to destabilize, for a political party to destabilize a party in power.
And especially given the Madhya Pradesh situation, as you just said, it was such a slim majority that they had. Sanjay Jha, isn't this a problem, or this crisis of your own making in the Congress? You have your own leader, Jyotiraditya Scindia, walking out of the Congress, joining the BJP and taking these 22 MLAs, and there was nothing the Congress could do.
Gargi, there are two elements to the response. Number one, I agree that it is the BJP's Operation Kamal, which is a combination of financial and monetary allurements backed by.
This was called Operation Holi, so it all happened on Holi Day. It was apparently called Operation Holi. But yes, go ahead.
No, call it whichever brand name Mr. Modi's government wants. But the fact of the matter is, yes, it is a very willful, in my opinion, unethical, unprincipled, immoral politics at its worst. But I do agree with what Smita Prakash also mentioned, which is that end of the day, the Congress party also has to get its house in order. That is also a reality I'm not going to back away from. Because the truth is that we have been in opposition since May 2019 defeat. And to have two states like Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh, very critical, large states, where we were in government, and in one we were with a coalition partner, in the other with the slender majority. So the fact that we have allowed both these to get out of our hands into a very desperately hungry and a very revengeful BJP that was probably seething after the Maharashtra coalition went out of their hands, I think is also a manifestation of the fact that we have an internal crisis to resolve. I can tell you, Gargi, in all honesty, several congressmen across the country will be extremely disappointed that at a time when we need to be completely, collectively fighting what I call is the authoritarian juggernaut of the BJP, that we are allowing them to get away with daylight robbery and have not put up the kind of fight we had expected to.
All right, Lalita Kumara Mangalam, what would you, this was something that we were expecting that Kamal Nath would announce his resignation at this press conference. He simply did not have the numbers. Ahead of that, he hit out at the BJP, accused them of kidnapping the MLAs and said that they had been trying to destabilize his government right from the start.
Look, I agree with some of what Sanjay has said, but I'm not here to throw stones at either the Congress or anybody else. The fact is, and I've been saying this from day one, that Jyotiraditya Scindia was the Congress's to lose. Obviously, in the last 10, 12, 15 years perhaps, people who are disenchanted with what they feel they have not been given within their own parties start talking to other parties. In an era of coalition politics, this sort of talking to each other had started, and Jyotiraditya Scindia had made it very clear for the past 1 year that he was not at all happy with the way he was treated in Madhya Pradesh. Having said that, the moment he left the Congress, and with him his MLAs, for want of a better word, also decided to move with him or given their resignations, I think the Kamal Nath government's time was, it was up. They did try their best, I'm sure, which is also, quite reasonable, because every party would try not to lose a government as important as Madhya Pradesh, but they didn't. Now, it's childish and it's quite irresponsible of anybody in the Congress to blame the BJP for this. Whatever you may say of earlier governments that they say we have bought, toppled, whatever, vicious, whatever the words that may be used, this government and both Jyotiraditya Scindia were the Congress's to lose. The majority was in any case wafer-thin right from last year. Last year it was for the BJP to lose the government. We did it, but we lost by a very, very slim margin, and Kamal Nath should have been on his guard right from day one.
Now, that's something Smita said as well. But Smita, the absurdity of resort politics, do you think this is something we'll never get rid of in Indian politics, to have these MLAs being kept in resorts, these leaders coming outside, police presence, them being taken away? It's absolutely absurd. And also the role of the speaker and governor really came into focus as well, once again, in this case, like it did in Karnataka.
Yeah, Gargi, I'm totally with you on this. It's absolutely shameful, and Karnataka tops the list in this resort politics. It's now no longer funny. Earlier, a couple of years ago, people used to laugh about it. Now everybody just treats it as that it's par for course. This kind of buying and selling of MLAs, nobody believes that this is ideology. I'm sorry to say, if any political party turns around and tries to clad itself in some holy cloth, saying that this is all because ideology. No, it's everybody knows that it's for personal benefit. It's because they want, yes, I agree to a certain extent that there are some people who don't see a future in a particular political party, and I think even the Congress, people from the Congress are also writing op-eds everywhere saying that this is a political party. We are not an NGO. We have to be cutthroat. We have to have a future roadmap available, not just the kind of drift. So I can well understand that some people don't see a future for themselves in a political party, but this herding of people and taking them to a resort and keeping them under some kind of surveillance, and then when the family members, it's bizarre. It's like some TV serial. There has to be some collective decision where political parties sit together and say, let's not pull ourselves down to this low level of politics.
But Smita, do you think the public really cares? Because we're just seeing it again and again, year after year, and I think everybody's become a little blasé to it. Or jaded.
I agree with you that do the people care? The people do care in the sense that what can we do? Tell me, you and I, if we are just common people, we go cast our vote and just choose the worst, just keep away the worst option and just take the best option. But if it depends on the candidate, right? If the candidate is the kind who doesn't really have an ideology, who's got a ticket from a political party because he's powerful in that area, he could be a miner, he could be a big businessman, or he could be somebody somebody who is served. But the point is that people are annoyed with what is happening. Yes, those who are very ideologically committed to a political party, they feel everything is right. You form a government, it's your responsibility to keep that government in power. It's not the job of the opposition to keep you in power. The opposition will do its job, which is to topple you off. But as far as the people are concerned, everybody is disgusted, and you can ask any beat reporter who goes there to cover it, the first thing that people say is sab chor hai. This is not a good sentiment. Just like, we in the media have to take corrective steps, or businesses or banks have to take corrective steps. Similarly, it's up to the politicians today to correct this malaise which has come in, this really wrong way of conducting themselves in public life. They have to correct it themselves.
Well, that's really wishful thinking. But Sanjay Jha, I think all three of you here, who've joined me on this panel, are in agreement that the Congress really needs to get its act together. So what now for the Congress? If this is a big setback for you with Kamal Nath government losing Madhya Pradesh, you're talking about how certain things need to be fixed. Everybody agrees Congress is complacent. But what now? What happens next?
Gargi, I'm losing your voice, but I don't know whether you can hear me. But in short, there are two aspects here. I was in Bhopal some time ago, and there was so much of appreciation and admiration for the way Mr. Kamal Nath was running his government. So I think in a great number of ways, I don't think Mr. Kamal Nath was giving just a template reading when he said that this is basically a mockery of the entire mandate as far as Madhya Pradesh was concerned. A lot of people from the BJP say they had a slightly higher vote share in Madhya Pradesh after the assembly elections. Let me remind them that the Congress had a higher vote share in Assam. So when you are in a first past the post system, I think these are very lame arguments. But the truth, Gargi, I'm not going to deny it, that for the Congress party to actually not recognize that the BJP is going to be unscrupulous in its lust for power, it is a real politic of our times. There is no denying it. I agree with Smita to that point. That end of day, the grand old party cannot give the impression to the supporters or the voters that backs it on ideological and other issues of governance. They should not feel that the Congress party doesn't know how to play politics anymore. Because the truth is that we believe that India faces an ideological crisis with the BJP propagating an extremely communal and a hate-filled environment in the country for their political windfalls. You need to be empowered to push your own secular inclusive ideology.
All right, well, let me go to Lalita on that. Lalita, Smita just spoke about it was wishful thinking about the politicians perhaps being a little more ethical in all of this. But what would you say to that, given that what we saw in Karnataka, those rebel MLAs from the Congress resigned, and then they fought the by-election and won back their seats on BJP tickets. So it's too much to ask really in this fight for power that we're seeing in politics currently, that will have any room for ethics.
Gargi, you are still very young. Let me take you back to 1998-99 when Jayalalitha toppled the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government by one vote in Parliament. Now, this has been going on for over 20 years, and I'm with Smita in this when I feel very bad about the fact that all politicians are today tarred with the same brush, that we are corrupt, that we are nepotistic, that we only want to be in power, and that there is no real sort of belief that we have in the sort of politics we must do. Now, unfortunately, true or not, the fact remains that this country, being a democracy, needs a strong opposition, and the Congress is in utter chaos. Let me just give you an example. In the last 2-3 months, reports have said, now I'm not from the Congress now, so I never was in it, but I'm not from the Congress, and these are reports, but I don't think they can be all totally wrong. They say that most of Priyanka Gandhi's advisors are from the SFI, which is a leftist organization. I wonder why. I still have family in the Congress, and it's not that I'm trying to push them, but the fact is that I'm sure the NSUI and the Youth Congress have got good people there. Why are the youngsters in the Congress not being given a chance? Isn't this what was the conundrum that happened in actually Madhya Pradesh? Jyotiraditya is from a younger generation. What is being said that Kamal Nath and Digvijay Singh wanted their own families to take over the next generation of politics, whatever. I don't know how much is true there or not true, but it can't be totally untrue. It can't be totally, false. The fact is that the Congress leadership at the center also seems like, totally in a vacuum. Nobody is taking a stand. There's no decisiveness. There's no, I don't know where, for all that, the rhetoric that is being, and the venom that's being spewed at the BJP, it seems the BJP does have more adherence to an ideology, whatever you may call it, like it, not like it, criticize it, that's a different point. Where is the Congress ideology for all the talk? Where is it? Whether it's in Tamil Nadu, whether it's in Rajasthan, whether it's in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, any of the states, where are the youngsters who had shown so much promise?
All right, well, I'm completely out of time. I think I'll have to end it here. But clearly, all three of you are in agreement that the Congress needs to get its act together. The big breaking news we're bringing you: Kamal Nath has resigned, not facing that floor test, and he accused the BJP ahead of that, ahead of his resignation. Well, time for us to slip into a short break. We'll get you more reactions on the other side. Stay with us.